welcome to abombtozzzax. With me, Colin Holt. And my friends, Dan Snellgrove and Jamie Firth. Here they come!
Hello, dear fans. Welcome back. Fans, fuck, the arrogance of that. Fans already. Welcome to episode 2 of abombtozzzax, my favourite Marvel character. We recorded one episode. We weren't sure if this was a horrendous middle-aged man's breakdown. It still could be, but I think that first episode, well, we said it in the moment, it made podcast history. I think that was one of the better podcasts of this last century. I don't know how long podcasts have been running, but it was pretty exciting. But anyway, it's with me, Colin, and my friends Jamie and Dan. We are going through all of Marvel Unlimited's characters. Marvel Unlimited, if you don't know, is an app you can get where you can read all the Marvel comics. It's like 60 quid a year. It's wonderful. And I've been reading it for years. I love Marvel. I'm a horrible nerd for all comic books. Jamie is a bit of a nerd, but more Batman and the Marvel movies. Dan is also a nerd for games and such, but also we're all quite cool. I think that's fair enough to say.
Super cool. Super cool.
I don't know, we're like cool nerds. Like, we're cool.
I've got a cap somewhere.
He's got a cap. Oh, right, okay.
I can wear it backwards from time to time. Do you know what I mean? I am that cool.
Milkman's cap. And what's a milkman's cap? Anyway, so what we're doing is I'm sending these comic books to my friends. They are reading them or not in some cases because, I've sent them all about a day before. And they're going to get more time next week. But then we are discussing that particular character, going through a very brief potted history of him or her, or it in this case, and what they are, what they mean to the bigger Marvel universe. It's like the thing is, the Marvel universe is so huge, you can't just go from the beginning to the end. You die. I think, and there's a strong chance we're going to die before we get to G, we realised, didn't we?
Have we worked this out yet? Have we done the maths?
No, I need someone to go count them all. But I've managed to shave off a few because I realised they were doing alter egos as well as main characters. And also some of those aren't, I mean, I don't know, do we do the Avengers? Do you know what I mean? Because we're doing all the Avengers separately. So do we do I don't know. We're going to have to cross that bridge when we come to it. We're still on number 2. We did A.I.M. He's currently the best Marvel character of all time. He's happily in the top slot. A.I.M. was essentially, we don't need to go over what he was. I found him very adorable and cuddly. But the guys, I think, were pretty unimpressed by him on the whole. I think we all agreed it was a waste of everyone's time. But not this week, because this week we are looking at number 2 on the list, which is A.I.M. A.I.M. So first of all, boys, I'd like just to hear, before you started looking at it, what did you think A.I.M. might be? Did you have any ideas? I mean, a character called A.I.M. sounds bad, doesn't it? Just someone who's good at aiming.
Yeah, like, what, is that like Hawkeye? Does Hawkeye have, he has a good aim, right? So I thought maybe it was someone who could snipe or something like that.
That'd be quite a hard name to say if it was just your superhero. Like, I'm A.I.M. It's kind of passive name, isn't it? I'm Study. I'm Prepare. They call me Prepare. There was one character in one of the... we'll come back to that because that's for next week, sorry. But A.I.M, Jamie, did you have any thoughts on A.I.M, who A.I.M might be?
Only that, like MODOK, I knew that it had full stops in between the letters, which meant that it was an acronym of some sort, which meant it was a sort of body of people or an organisation.
And you're right. And Jamie, can you remember what A.I.M stands for? What is it?
I made a lot of notes, and guess what? I did not write that down.
I've got it.
Daniel's got it. Okay, go, Daniel.
I've got it.
Good work.
I know I'm going to be in trouble later because I didn't read all the comics, so you're going to tell me if I'm not doing my homework. But I've got this one. Is it Advanced Idea Mechanics?
It is Advanced Idea Mechanics. Advanced Idea Mechanics, which sounds very dull, doesn't it? It sounds very, I don't know, advanced. Does it sound menacing? Advanced Idea and does it mean anything? I've always just read that and like, oh yeah, sure, Advanced Idea Mechanics. That's what they do. That's their thing, man. But what does it even mean? Does anyone know?
It sounds to me like a kind of Lego.
Sorry, Jamie, what was that?
It sounds to me like a kind of Lego. It's like one of the
Advanced Idea Mechanics.
Yeah.
I mean, A.I.M, as we're going to work out, is a shadowy organization, a kind of Spectre. I guess they're based on Spectre, is what comes to mind, right, from James Bond. So, yeah. But maybe they would do better in the way Dr. Evil went into making. Didn't his company, while he was away, like his organization went into just putting money into actual legitimate products and made a lot more than they would. Like, that was a very funny gag. But similarly, if they just gone into a Lego-based thing, do you know you can get like rip-off Lego now? And it makes me feel sick because it's not real, but it's legit. I don't know how they get away with it.
Does it connect with other Lego, like original Lego?
Yeah, it does. Cheeky, very cheeky, but you see it, because obviously I've got 2 kids. I don't do it anymore because they just want laptops. But back in the day, you'd buy whole piles of this stuff secondhand. Sometimes they'd sneak in these like fake Lego blocks. Oh, it made me sick. Ugh. Pete.
I'm not sure if we've actually. Are we going to
throwing them back at the man selling them? Me.
Are we actually going to use our reading list here? Because I was going to say that. So Strange Tales 146,
yes,
which is one of the earlier ones, has a really nice description of A.I.M, where they say, "Well, I love the fact that they're also referred to constantly as them, which makes them sound like a really shadowy kind of, and it's always them ?
So that really confused me because I was like, is there them and A.I.M? I can't quite work out. Is A.I.M a part of them or is them a part of A.I.M?
It felt to me like politics of the current day where people are constantly referring to them because they don't really know who they are. So they're kind of constantly referring to like a sort of shadowy.
So they just didn't want to upset anybody. They didn't want to like say the wrong bloody pronoun.
But one of the things the guy says is A.I.M is not a mere business organization, not a political union, but rather a society of the greatest intellects on earth.
Wow. And they're trying to do good.
It's the Illuminati.
Is that right? They are actually trying to do good, would we say? They're not trying. What is their goal? Because so I didn't read Strange Tales 146. I've got to be honest. I started and I found it really boring. I was excited about it because I think that's their first ever appearance. It's Strange Tales 146, just the first story. So those stories are helpfully put in 2 halves. This is early days. This is the 60s. I think it's
1956.
56?
56.
It's from 56. Oh, yeah, that series, that comic is. That comic series is, but that actual comic is from 63, I think.
Okay.
Because so it's Nick Fury, am I right? Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
Now, you know Nick Fury from the movies. Okay, here we go. Let's hear it.
Sorry for that interruption.
No, jump in.
The first thing, because my, I don't have a connection with the comics themselves. I opened it up.
You do now,
and the first shock was seeing that Nick Fury isn't actually Samuel L. Jackson.
No.
That was a real shocker. I was like, it's not him.
How did you feel about that?
I had to convert. But he's still got that swagger. They're all quite rude to each other and like, they keep like...
There's an arrogance there, isn't there?
There is an arrogance.
And of course, this came out in the 60s. So this was like the war wasn't that far away. Far behind. So Nick Fury, who we'll come to at some point, the original Nick Fury was a kind of gung-ho soldier, war comic, chucking a grenade, have a cunt, you damn ratsies, good fun, leading a band. And it was his band were called the Howling Commandos, not a band, not like the Beatles, but his platoon, and they would fight the Nazis, and very exciting stuff. But came out in the 60s, so it was harkening back to those days. But this is him post-war, So I guess the idea is he's like 45, maybe. He's like my age. I guess when he was, God, but he's still got it, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. So now he's part of S.H.I.E.L.D., which are super spy organization. But Nick, he doesn't act like, I guess he's James Bond, isn't he? But I like that he's not a womanizer particularly, or kind of suave. He's gruff and quite unpleasant.
I like that he talks like a pirate. Like the way his language is structured is amazing. Like one of the first things he said was, "That's the chicken scratchingest understatement of the year, you blasted meathead." And then he called someone hambone, which I thought was brilliant.
Yeah,
hambone.
You blasted hambone.
What is a hambone? As in like the bone around some ham, or inside the bone that ham surrounds?
Yes. He also called,
wasn't that one of your plays at Edinburgh?
Hambone, yes.
The bone that ham surrounds. Yeah, brackets hambone. So, and who does he call a hambone?
I think one of his men.
The blonde guy, wasn't it? He had a young blonde chap with him.
The guy who, very unfortunately, so the opening scene is they're underwater swimming around, and one of his men is saying, "I'm just going to move this thing," and Nick Fury's saying, "Really, don't do that. That's a really bad idea." But of course, they're underwater; he can't hear him, and then he gives him a right barrel load for moving the thing, which obviously blows up and sends the ball swimming in.
So he's about to move this. What is it? A mine or something?
Yeah, it's like a metallic object thing.
Sorry, I didn't read
a mysterious object. Like, let me just grab hold of that and give it a good shake. That seems like the best thing to do.
A very sort of thing a sort of qualified super spy probably wouldn't do, but he's not thinking right. He's underwater, but he tries to shout. So does he think you're a hambone?
No, it's after he then rescues him, and then when they're inside, he says, "Come on, what did you do that for, dude?
You know what you're a bloody hambone.
Did I teach you nothing, you hambone?" And I did start reading it like we were talking about last week. Started reading it in the regional dialects.
Okay.
Come on, you hambone. You know. All right,
it's a lot of fun. If you're not American and you're reading any comic book, especially superheroes, it's a lot of fun to do it in a sort of thick northern accent. Yeah. I don't mean thick as in stupid. Daniel, Daniel's other Daniel is our editor, and he is listening. So I'm not slagging off the North.
I guess the classic.
I'm halfway there myself.
The classic version in America, I guess, would be to read things in a Canadian accent, like a really stereotypical Canadian accent with the whole A and I'm sorry.
It's very hard to do. Can you do a Canadian accent? I was on Marcus Brigstock's show, and there was a character that was Canadian, and I was like, "Oh, I can't really do that. I'll just do American, shall I?" And Marcus was like, "No, you do it like this," and just did a Canadian accent. And I was like, "Oh, it's fine." You know, he was very nice about it, but very impressive. Okay, so what was that line? I think maybe this is time for our director's studio, should we call it?
Yeah, I mean, okay. I'd like to hear "Shut Up, You Blasted Hambone."
So, Jamie, you're our director. Me and Dan are actors. This is a little segment where we see if we could break it into the MCU, which is ultimately the goal of this podcast. In some ways, is for us to get into the MCU. It'd just be lovely. It'd be a lovely spin-off. I mean, the podcast is going to make us £1 million each. We realised once it's top. But in the meantime, we'd also love to get an MCU movie. So could you give me the full line? Because I like the full line.
Let's go with "Shut Up," and that is SHADDUP. Shut up, you blasted.
Shut up.
Shut up, yeah, blasted.
Not like a
hambone.
Festival, a Jewish festival. Sorry.
Shut up, yes.
Shut up.
No hambones there.
Okay. So sorry, let's hear that line again, please, Jamie.
Shut up, you blasted hambone.
Okay. Do you want to? Are we going for real or like Northern? We're really trying to do Okay, let's really do it for real. Okay, go on then.
Yes. Dan, right. I have annoyed you greatly.
Me?
By moving
I have annoyed you. Tell me.
Oh, right.
It's acting, darling. Darling, it's acting.
Yeah,
it's acting.
Okay.
Remember, you remember acting.
Yeah, I'm there. Okay, I was actually getting to the zone. Okay.
Right, give me a sec. Do you need a sec? I'm one of those actors that I'm more instinctive and good.
He's on.
Normally, this would take me about 15 minutes to just really.
Okay, all right. Okay, let's do it. We're wasting time. Okay, here we go. What is it? Shut up, you blasted hambone.
Shut up.
Okay, I'm actually going to try it properly. Okay, here we go.
And action.
Shut up, you blasted ham bone.
Oh, wow.
Pretty good.
That was not bad. You'd imagine Nick Fury to talk like that?
There's no second take. That's in the count.
Yes!
That's in the movie.
Okay, Daniel, let's hear it.
And action.
Hey, show up, you blasted ham bone.
No, that's mate. Okay.
So the Yorkshire Fury.
You've got to take whatever interpretation you get, you've got to take into the room. You've got to take whatever because the director's going to be like, don't try and get it right for them. But in this case, I think, can we hear your real Nick Fury, please? He's from the Bronx, for God's sakes. 45-year-old man.
Shut up, you blasted ham bone. No, I'm still doing all. I'm not
He's
about
still
it.
doing Northern.
It's 15 minutes. I've told you. That's what you've got. I'm giving
all
the
right,
director
all right.
option.
Next time, Jamie's going to give us the line in advance. Well, that was in the director's corner. I've got the part of Nick Fury. Little bit of information here. Little tidbit for you, trivia. Before the original, before Samuel L. Jackson became Nick Fury in the Avengers or whatever it was, can anyone tell me who played Nick Fury before that? There was.
Yes.
You can. Who was it?
I think I can. Was it Hasselhoff?
It was David Hasselhoff.
What?
There was a TV movie. I don't think it ever went to cinema. I think it was just TV movie. Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. came out in maybe like 94 or something. It was around sort of Blade and all those movies. So later, maybe like 99. I've never seen it, but apparently it's very bad. Apparently you see the S.H.I.E.L.D. helicarrier right at the end, and it's like literally a drawing. Like someone's just drawn it, like a Monty Python, But yeah, apparently he's quite good. I think he's quite good casting for this Nick Fury. Not bad. Okay, anyway, we haven't talked at all about A.I.M, but you got the idea from that. A.I.M are an organization of scientists. So they're not an organization of Nazis, like you've got Hydra, who come into it as well, I think. They're an organization of scientists. Dan, you're a bit of a scientist. Could you imagine the scientists you knew or have been around? You did a physics degree. You were around those. Could you imagine anyone on that course like forming a shadowy organization that tried to, whatever they're trying to do?
Oh, yeah.
What are they trying to do?
I did do a physics degree about 23 years ago. There was perhaps about 80 people on our course. There was a chap who sat on his own. He had very thick rimmed glasses and very mean people. There's a physics joke. They called him Hubble.
Hubble?
From the space telescope.
Yeah, telescope.
But why? As in because his eyes could see so far because he had... Did it make his eyes big? Like those?
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he designed them himself and maybe they did have super zooming powers. I don't know. But I can see him actually like
starting this organization.
This organization, yeah.
You'd have to find other scientists, wouldn't he? I mean, I guess it's like how do things like, dreadful racist groups start? I guess you have to kind of go, you have to hint at something, don't you? You know what I mean? You can't just come out with it. You got to kind of sort of go. Nowadays, you can. It's like, go for it, mate. Join the Tory party, mate. Do you know? Sorry to get political there, everyone. But, did you see? Oh, my God. Did you see? This is Lee Anderson, the MP. He was a Tory MP for Ashfield. He's quite an outspoken anti-Sadiq Khan, anti-climate justice, any political correctness or anything like that. Did you see him on GB News? He's left the Tory party and joined Reform, which are basically UKIP, and he's pissed. He's properly pissed. He's going like, I do what I do for this country and stuff like that. And then he's from Ashfield. He's where my dad used to work. And he says at the end, they say, are you ever going to apologise to Sadiq Khan for what you said? Which was pretty inflammatory, awful stuff. And he went, no, never surrender. Never surrender. I couldn't see him in A.I.M. He's not for A.I.M. But you know what? I reckon within A.I.M, maybe there are people like that. I reckon you get your nice scientists who are a bit, disconnected, a bit sort of don't really know how to talk to people, but I want to make the world a better place. I'm going to make this group. I'm going to starts saying to other scientists, you wonder, and then someone like Lee Anderson sneaks in. Do you know what I mean? And turns them bad. I reckon it started as a lovely group.
Do we actually see in the comic book? So from what I saw, do we actually see who these people are? Are AIM the umbrella organization? Because so there are scientists in it who are always dressed a bit like Marty McFly in Back to the Future, where he pretends to be from another planet. So it's the sort of yellow radioactive suits.
They get the nickname beekeepers as it goes on.
Okay.
And pretty much from the beginning, certainly by the time you get into the 80s, 90s and beyond, they're a joke. They've become a joke. They've never been taken seriously, which sadly is probably their whole. They probably did this to try and be taken seriously, for God's sake, Stop the bullies. But they've ended up even in this, they didn't feel very serious or threatening. What did we think about that? Were you scared of them?
Straight away, I thought of Dr. No. I mean, we've already mentioned James Bond.
Dr. No,
it's
right.
around that sort of time. It looked like, those radiation suits.
Yeah.
So I think perhaps at the time it chimed with that. So
Quite sinister.
I was in, I must say.
And they're all anonymous.
Yeah, I quite liked it. And particularly because it was that 50s style comic as well, where everything's a little bit, it's all tongue-in-cheeky, the way I was reading it, and the editors are sort of talking to us.
Bit fun.
It's all fun and silly.
Yes, we're not to be taken too seriously. I think the outfits are fantastic. I'd love to see them in the films. I don't think they made it.
Are these the henchmen? Are these the goons? Or are these the actual, is this the organization?
So as it goes on, you do get a sort of scientist supreme, I think they call, who is the leader. So they're like top scientist. But generally, they become they're kind of cannon fodder, and they all just get thrown in front of bullets and stuff, But what I like is that they become these sort of foot soldier type people, but they're all a genius scientist. Every single one has spent a lifetime becoming not just a scientist. I mean, moving on to Tales of Suspense 78 to 80 by Stanley and Jack Kirby, just the B story. So in that, they've created a thing called the Cosmic Cube.
Oof.
Did you see the Cosmic Cube? I mean, it's just a sort of invisible box with some spaghetti in it, is what it looks like. But did you see the Cosmic Cube? Did anyone get that far?
Yeah,
with the red skull.
Isn't it, frankly, the most powerful weapon you could imagine? It's like, it turns your thoughts into action. Like you just say, like the red skull was like, I don't want gravity to work on that rock anymore, and it just flies up in the air. And
so they're capable of that. I just give up. Just why are we bothering? What are we doing? Why are we walking around in beekeeper suits? What are we doing, lads? Come on. We've made a cosmic cube.
And
it was just a see-through box with spaghetti in it. And the red skull's like, yes, now I will take over the world, And they're like, yeah, definitely. Yeah. It reminds me of my DT projects at school, right? Sorry, Jamie, I know you want to say something. My DT projects at school, I was not good at DT, as you could probably guess, design and technology. A lot of people joined AIM from that class, actually. But I was not good at it. And I got to the course bit and you had to make your thing. And I said, I'm going to make a robot. I'm just going to make a robot. And they were like, oh, right, great. But the robot was just, got cardboard. I drew when you draw a plan of a box and then cut it out. I did that for arms, legs, head, and a body, and then put some straws to hold it together, and then just immediately fell apart. And I was like, it's my robot. And they were like, but that's not technology. That's just, you might as well just draw on a robot. That doesn't work. Anyway, that's my technology story, which I'm sort of regretting telling you. But
made it on an egg box.
Made it on an egg box. I got an F. I got an F.
Are they human?
No, I got a U. Nothing. Untitled, unlimited, I think.
Because I think in Tales of Suspense, right? They get shot, and it makes a hole in them, and they can see that they're basically androids.
Oh, okay. But then they're not the scientists, are they? So they're people that they've created.
Yeah.
They create so also AIM start making a lot of these sort of living robots, but they're not robots.
They're artificial men.
Artificial men.
So I did make a note of one of the line, and then I'm basically out for the episode because that's all my notes.
That's good work.
You just mentioned that like some of the Marvel stuff of that time is quite fun and quite meta. It doesn't take itself too seriously.
Yes.
There's a lovely bit in the Strange Tales episode where I think it's Fury that says, "We're dealing with an outfit that can turn out artificial men to do any kind of job, just like Marvel can grind out comic books."
Oh, lovely. Lovely. Nick Fury says that himself, does he?
Yeah.
So he's aware. Well, this is a weird thing that used to annoy me as a kid, actually, but now I've come to appreciate it, is within the Marvel Universe, they have the Marvel Universe. So the comics of their adventures are printed and they read them. And then Stan and Jack, who create Stanley and Jack Kirby basically created almost all of the Marvel Universe. Like there's been very few characters made since then. And everyone's just redoing those stories, really. But they're in quite a lot of the episodes and sort of get shtick from the guys, for hey, why are you always making me look like the bad guy and stuff like that. That was a good Nick Fury.
You've got the part, Colin.
Yes. So the other ones I asked you to read were Avengers 386 to 388 and Captain America 440 to 441. Now, one of the things I need to make sure for next week is I need to tell you, because there's been so many volumes of this. So basically, originally, all the comics just went from 1 to about 500. And then they started doing things where they reboot the universe. So that's why you've got one that's from 2015, one that started in 94 or whatever. It's very annoying. But anyway, this was the original run of them. Now, this I thought was going to be very exciting because it was called Taking Aim and it's a crossover. So I thought this will be great. I thought this is like AIM's mega story because I was really struggling to find what is AIM's good story. Now, there is a character you mentioned, Jamie, called MODOK. He comes in, he is like AIM's big baddie, but he's not really... he'll come separately in when we do it in 2060 or whatever. But MODOK, I mean, that's M. One of us is definitely dead by M. We're just going to be we just keep a skeleton on one of these Zoom calls, But MODOK comes later. But I thought Taking Aim was going to be massive and really exciting. But they weren't really in it. It was mainly the Red Skull. How did you feel about these comics as opposed to the old ones of Captain America, which were a bit fun, a bit kooky? No, they're silly, happy with that. James Bondy. And these, what was your taste of these 90s bad boys?
So is this where, because I am a bit muddled up. What's the one with the chemical man? There was a chemical man.
Chemical man?
Yeah, it was
I think that's...
he mixes
chemicals. That's Tales of Suspense, isn't it?
Oh, I'm still in that one.
I think that's the one. Okay, yeah, that's where... Oh, yeah, the chemical man. And he can mix chemicals in his body and fire them at you.
Yes.
And I like that.
I
quite like that. So they're like walking petri dishes or petri dish. They're walking experiments, these guys. And they really lean into the science. I like that.
Well...
Okay, so you have some... Okay, science time. In the Boffin's Corner, this segment's going to be called. Okay, so Snelgers, with his wonderful physics degree, is going to tear to pieces this whole idea of a bloody chemical man.
Well, no, okay. So because it's set within that type of comic, as in the one where it is not taking itself too seriously, it's talking directly to us with its self-awareness and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's got far more freedom to just say stuff like deadly electrical wave beams and things like that. And you just kind of go, yeah, okay, whatever. But this chemical man, he's carrying all these chemicals with him on a belt and he can mix them together to make stuff and make himself, he can make himself basically out fire so he can walk through walls. Then he can make stuff with these chemicals so he can shoot electric bolts.
In the way fire can go through a wall.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, like fire just goes through walls, doesn't it?
And then finally, Captain America says, he has this realization. What if he thinks the only way to defeat us is by mixing uranium-235?
Yeah. That was quite a good moment, I thought. I thought that was quite scary. I mean, I wasn't actually, when I say scary, obviously, you know.
But it's as if uranium-235 is mixed by, like, I'll get a bit of...
Oh, is it not?
Bit of, like, I don't know, bit of salt and a bit of copper sulfate. It's chuck them together. And now I've got uranium-235.
Okay.
You know, it's an element itself or an isotope. So it's...
So uranium is a thing you find. What, do you find it and then by doing something to it, it becomes irradiated? Or is it already...
So there's different okay, this is... Again, trying to delve back into my historic knowledge, seconds. Which is not great. Okay. There are different... so elements have different isotopes. Some of them are unstable and radioactive. So like in uranium-235 is a specific isotope of uranium, and it is radioactive. You can make certain elements radioactive by... You can bombard them and... turn them into different isotopes. I won't go into too much detail because, frankly, I can't remember all of it. But him using chemistry to mix things together to make this uranium was a little bit like... they're kind of saying with chemicals you can do anything, which was kind of the thing.
Yeah. But I like that Cap realised the danger. Do you know what I mean? I like that he realised the implications.
Yeah. I think
it's wrong.
For me, it was like...
Someone should have said, oh, that's not possible, Cap. But thanks for your input.
Or he realises that this man can do anything.
Yes.
With chemicals.
And then you've just got the cosmic cube, which is just spaghetti in a...
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it uranium
does not work like that.
Is uranium-235 a sequel? Like, are they numerically, do they go up in number? Because I like the idea that uranium-234 just like kept kicking off chance numbers. It's like uranium-234. Here we go.
Wonderful. Well, so did you have any thoughts on the 90s one very briefly? Do you know what I loved? My favourite was that first issue of Avengers where the Red Skull's like on the rampage. I really liked the Red Skull, and I don't think you're meant to because he's a Nazi. I mean, back then you weren't meant to like Nazis. Now they're like, you know, bring it on.
Yeah.
But I loved the... Did you read that one where he's just like smashing the shit out of everyone?
He's quite cartoonishly grotesque as well. Like he's like quite a caricature of a character, whereas everything else is like quite seems quite kind of grown up and adult. And it's like we've made it a bit darker and a bit more kind of
nicer. 90s comics are often very like grim and gritty. And what's that phrase they say for comedians? Edgelord. They're a bit like that. Do you know what I mean? They've got that kind of Whereas he was very Joker-like, I thought. And he took them to pieces. He sort of vanished and then he was hiding in the shadows the whole time and then just, I've never loved...
the cube? Is he doing this with the
No,
cube?
I don't think he had the cube then.
Oh, blimey.
He's just like throwing spaghetti at them.
Is this a different cube from the Tesseract that I would be familiar with from the movies? Is it a version of?
I think that, I think essentially. I don't think they're going to bring the cosmic cube into the... They've sort of done it already with the Tesseract, haven't they? Dan, there's no way that... I mean, I'm guessing the answer, but there's no way brainwaves can make reality change, is there?
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, all the time.
Oh, there is? Oh, wow.
No.
Oh, cool. Did not expect that.
I mean, they are starting to interpret brainwaves, and people are able to say, like, move a dot on a screen by thinking.
Oh, really?
Moving that dot on the screen. Yeah.
Actually, me and my mate Neil, when we were at the Green Man Festival, they had like a Boffin's Corner there, in fact. And they had a lot of people in beekeeper suits. And they had this, that'd be funny if A.I.M at like science fairs. I wonder if they've ever done that. They should do that. They probably have. But you had like you put a thing on your head and you had to try and move this. What was it? It was like a little dot or something, and it was like who could beat the other. But it wasn't to do with force of will or anything like that. It was just to do with like putting your alpha waves out. it's at the time I was like, this is bullshit. But apparently it was true. But it is true. You can do.
That's happening, yeah.
Oh my God, that's so exciting. Wow. Okay, Cosmic Cube, here we come. Wonderful. Okay, well, we haven't got time to talk about that anymore. I don't think we talked about AIM at all there. Did it give you any excitement for the not the MCU, but the MU, the General Marvel Universe? Did it sort of open up any more things where you're like, I'd like to know a bit more about that aspect? That's all.
I mean, I still don't really understand. Are they goodies or baddies?
They're a very placid organisation. They're like Tesco's or something. Do you know what I mean? They're not.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they're not Tesco's, but they're like, I don't know. Yeah, they're never like the baddie, are they? In any of these stories, Red Skull's the baddie, and they're just like facilitators. But I like that building up a world where you've got competing. And I was surprised by that because it's very early on in the history. It's like in the 60s. You've already got competing evil organizations. So it's not just like S.H.I.E.L.D. are good, AIM are bad. It's like AIM are also competing with Red Skull and Hydra already. So you've already got like the baddies against the baddies. I like that.
It does say that the guy that comes over to visit, what was his name? Is that?
Yeah. I made a note of that. Count Royale. Was it Count Royale?
Count Bornag Royale. Yeah. He was, and it stated he was from Europe.
Oh. Count Borag.
But Bornag, I think.
Count Bornag Royale. And he had like a little pencil mustache, didn't he? But he was a baddie. Was he working for AIM? I genuinely, this sounds bad because obviously I'm the comic master and I just couldn't follow that one. I was like, can everyone just shut up? Just show me. There's a lot of talking about nothing. I was just like, just have Nick Fury like throw grenades and stuff. Anyway, so A-Bomb currently at the top of the character list. We're now putting AIM. It feels wrong because they're not really a character, but apparently we're using groups. So we've started that now. So likability, what do we think?
I like them. I mean, they seem.
I like them.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I'm excited. No, they excite me. The idea
you
of
want to see more of them?
Minds. Yeah, of course. See what they can
make.
More pasta in boxes.
Okay, right. So what do we go? 8? Do we go that high?
Feels like a big jump, but I don't see why not. They're very likable. They've not done any wrong, have they? They've not done anything specifically wrong.
This is my childhood dream come true. I'm writing down. I'm writing down what's the word? I don't know what the word is. Okay,
can I add this? I did get a bit annoyed with Bornag Royale when he turns up on the ship. He's got a suitcase, and security asked to search it. And he's like, get off me, unhand me, blah, blah, blah. And they open up, and there's like this metallic device that looks like a bomb in it.
Yeah.
And if he'd just told them in the first place, there would have been any problems. But he gets all huffety and puffety because he's from Europe, I suppose.
Yeah.
So I didn't like that. I thought just follow procedure.
What was it? It wasn't.
It takes 2 pages before someone says clearly it's a model bomb that he's come to demonstrate. It's a Q bomb as well. So we skipped several letters on the way to that.
So
maybe he's doing that thing where you lie when you're actually, you make people think you're lying when you're actually telling the truth, so that then when you want to lie, they're more confused. Oh, wow. That is a thing apparently that psychopaths do. They genuinely like, make you think they're lying sometimes when they're not. Then you find out they're not lying. You go, oh, maybe Camp Royale is a pretty straight up guy. We got him wrong after all. So then, I don't know, that maybe I'm reaching there.
That scene feels particularly relevant to AIM because they're basically arguing like who's got the most authority, Fury or the guy from AIM? And they're like, I don't know. There's no hierarchy to this organization. Where do these people fit on the chessboard?
Yeah. Like who? But Camp Royale doesn't have a beekeeper suit, does he? Or he does when he gets home and he puts it on, I guess.
He may have one at home. We just don't see it.
We don't know.
So they can't wear it. They got to wear it when they turn up for the meeting, but not when they're just walking around going to the shops. Oh shit! I'm still wearing my beekeeper outfit at the checkout. Oh no. Okay, so So there was a problem with Camp Royale, but I don't know if he represents AIM. Don't let one bad apple, Dan, ruin this otherwise perfect organization.
All right, I'm just
We
saying
just
that's gonna, I would drop it to 7.5 because of that. I'm just saying.
All right, okay. It's gone down. It's taking it to 7.
Sorry,
We don't do
guys.
halves. We don't do halves. Right, originality. I think they're pretty original. I mean, obviously, we've got your Dr. No's and stuff, but I feel like, you know.
But this is before Dr. No. Dr. No's 62.
Oh, was it before Dr. 62?
I think. And did this
No, I
comic
think
was
this
it
was.
56?
I think this was almost the same time, maybe.
Okay. So the jury's out on that one.
Okay. All right. 5. Coolness. An even 10. Jamie, you've muted yourself, by the way.
I mean, what's not aspirational about these guys? You know,
Do we go to 10?
The size. I wouldn't say 10. I mean,
Because then, like,
They're very cool. I mean, they're the opposite of cool. They're dorky. They're dorky scientists in beekeeper costumes, but that makes them.
I mean, bright yellow comes and goes, doesn't it? I'm not sure whether, like, at times they're going to be very, very out of step with current fashion.
Going to be
I suspect.
absolutely. They're just covered in flies everywhere they go.
Maybe they have like a pastel version for, you know.
For ladies,
Yeah.
for the lady aims. I'd love it if they do like if they that made me. I was just imagining AIM scientists like putting on a drag night and stuff. That'd be fun, wouldn't it?
Well, they didn't really have any identity, did they? They
Putting
were
on a
sort of,
cabaret, but they're all still got to wear their things, but they like getting up and singing songs. A bit like when you see the Tories singing songs. I don't know what the Tories have got in my head. The AIM are not like Tories, I don't think. Maybe they are. Or like one of those think tanks. You know those think tanks? Have you heard of the think tanks?
there will be a glossary at the end of the show for our American listeners to try and work their way around.
Let's not
Tesco's and Lee Anderson.
I'm getting very political here. Right, so coolness, I'm going to go 8.
okay, because there's coolness. Like Nick Fury's cool, isn't he?
Oh
Cool.
yeah, that's true. That's very
What
true.
sort of cool? Because
Really, we should say like 2, shouldn't we? If you're looking at Nick Fury, but to me personally, maybe I'm getting coolness and adorability mixed up again.
it's tricky. Yeah, because I think you can be cool, but a lot of people don't like you because they're sort of. Someone's too cool.
We're really stuck on this. I'm going to have to ask our editor to jump in here.
Right.
Other Daniel, what's your take on AIM, on what you've heard so far? Do we give them 8 or do we give them 2? Final word.
Oh, 8.
8. Right, we're in. They're 8.
Science
Thanks,
is
Daniel.
cool, kids. Science is cool.
Realism. Okay, well, I mean, obviously the idea of the cosmic cues has been debunked. I don't think really scientists. You do get those guys, as you say, who are blinkered, seen, disconnected from society, might create their own weird society. But is there that many scientists? We kind of need one at the minute with, the whole climate emergency. We need AIM. I'd love to see AIM tackle climate change.
Well, we've got like big corporations playing these games, with your Elon Musks and stuff.
I guess that's my point, though. You get someone like an Elon Musk come in and kind of, do you know what I mean? Muck it up.
Because is he cool? Sorry, I shouldn't bring it back to the cool. Sorry.
No.
Sorry, I won't go
No.
back.
Right, I'm going to go for 5.
Okay.
Longevity. How long could you think these characters can keep going? Forever.
Forever. They have no discernible identity or purpose. I think they're a factor in our lives forever.
Do you ever feel a bit like that?
Constantly. Yeah, that's what I strive for.
I'm going to give them 9. And finally, adorability. Okay. Firstly, I want to point out they're not Nazis. They're not the Red Skull. But they are, we think, it's unclear, sort of trying to take over the world or something. But they are adorable.
Adorable. I'm not sure I agree with adorable.
I think they're adorable. I mean, under that suit, they'd be very sweaty as well, wouldn't they? That's not adorable.
For a start, I totally admire scientific progress. I do. I stand for this.
Yeah.
But in terms of like A.I.M, we were saying was perhaps cuddly and that in that way adorable and stuff.
Okay.
Do
you
I
think
wanna...
those suits are kind of plasticky as well? So it'd be a bit like squeaky and yeah.
End of the day,
mean,
those guys are a mess. At the
All
end
right.
of the day. That's the
Okay,
shower. Shower straight away.
I
As soon
think
as you
they're
get
pretty
home.
adorable, but I think we're going for 2. Okay, well, that puts A.I.M immediately ahead of A-Bomb by some margin. So the current listing of the favorite Marvel character or the best Marvel character, maybe we should change the title. I think I've already given it a bad title. The best Marvel character is A.I.M, the shadowy organization that are up to something. We're not sure what they're up to, but they look bloody brilliant doing it. I'll tell you that. All right, well, come back next week. Tune in. I don't think that makes sense, does it? Tune in, if that makes any sense, to abombtozzzax with me and my lovely friends next week when we talk about Abomination, the father of A-Bomb. Not literally, but in some ways. Right, say goodbye, boys.
Bye, boys.
Bye-bye. Never surrender.